Hi, I'm Tony Blass, and I've been shooting film and video for more than 30 years. Documentary filmmaking has to be a labor of love because it often takes decades to see a profit, if ever. In fact, earlier this year, I finally recouped my investment for footage I shot in 1984. Of course, crowdfunding has changed the way filmmakers find investors. For my new film, I've chosen to work with the crowdfunding site Hatchfund. The reason is, it's a nonprofit site just for artists, which means contributions are tax deductible. The John Casey Project is about my uncle, John Casey, who most people simply called Casey. Casey was a professor at Warren Wilson College in North Carolina before we lost him to cancer in February. Casey was an extraordinary man with many talents. He was an artist, a craftsman, a philosopher, a teacher, and a friend. As a craftsman, one of his most striking pieces is a life-size, functional wood carving he made in the 1980s of a street performer named Norman Jean. Long before transgenders had begun to be accepted in our society, Casey risked his career to immortalize this young person. He was a trailblazer in other ways too. Casey created and taught one of the first college courses in the US on environmental ethics. And he didn't just lecture, he lived his principles, including almost completely sustaining his family with food raised in his own front yard garden. Casey studied and taught himself the Lakota language and even built an authentic sweat lodge in which he held traditional purification ceremonies. In the days before his death, Casey asked his students to sit with him and just hold his hand, even when he could no longer speak. Former students came from around the country to experience the last moments with a man who had profoundly affected their lives. I feel it is imperative to tell his story so we can preserve both his art and coursework for future generations. I've been invited to submit for the Florida Film Festival, and the screening would make the film eligible to be considered for an Academy Award. I'm working with co-producers Scott Smith and L.M. Sawyer to raise the money necessary to complete production by the submission deadline of November 17th. Any donation you can make, even just $1, could help us to reach our goal of sharing the story of John Casey. Even if you can't donate at this time, please help us spread the word to preserve Casey's legacy for a world so desperately in need of his vision. Thank you.